Well, hello and welcome to another LinkedIn Live Q&A interview where I'm delighted to be joined by Gillian Dodd, who is a yoga teacher and the founder of Yoga for the Body You're In. So hi, Gillian, how are you doing?
Hello, hi, good morning.
Yeah, no, great to see you. And so do you want to explain a little bit about who you are and what you're doing with the yoga? Just to give us
Yes,
a bit of a brief intro about who you are and what you do.
sure. Yeah, thank you. So yes, I'm a yoga teacher, and I have been for about 7 years now. And I was teaching as a kind of an aside thing alongside my other job about 5 years ago. So yoga for the body you're in. It means a lot to me, actually. It's, and I think the reason that it does is that I always wanted to bring yoga to people who thought that they couldn't do yoga, who thought that they perhaps weren't flexible enough to do yoga, or maybe there was other things that were barriers, age, had an operation, or do you know what I mean? So I've been teaching in Lowfell for quite some time, and also do workplace yoga, because that's where you really get lots of different types of bodies and form.
Shapes and sizes and different abilities.
Sizes, yeah, and all of that. So that's what I do, and even more of it now that we're in this situation.
Yeah, so you were actually you were doing physical classes. You were doing, people could come to your yoga studio in Lowfell, but now
Yeah.
you've had to adapt. You've had to move everything online. So you're doing weekly yoga classes online through Zoom. Do you want to explain a bit more about that, how that works, and when?
Yeah, sure. So I do evening classes on a Tuesday and Sunday, and I think when the first lockdown happened in March, then it was about getting this on Zoom, and
Yeah.
people in my class who perhaps hadn't used this kind of technology before. So live classes with me over Zoom. And I've started to do morning classes as well. So wake up to yoga. So I do that in the mornings. But, so I was doing one-to-one yoga as well. And also part of my business plan was about running yoga retreats as well. So that's
Yeah. And the morning ones, that's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 9 and 9:45. Is that right?
So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thought it would be good to have a break in between. And this is about helping people to be connected. Actually, don't mean just that body connected, but being connected at the moment is really important. And also just keeping flexible and keeping moving, really. So
you're leading the yoga, but I have seen a video of you doing it, and we've obviously talked quite a bit about this. And it's more than just yoga as well, isn't it? There's a bit of chat as well. It's a social thing. It's not full on yoga class.
People want to. I mean, some people might want to come and just do yoga in their pajamas and leave their camera off. But there is a bit of time to have a chat beforehand. People want to, they can have a chat afterwards. And I think what's encouraging for me is that it connects people who wouldn't normally see each other at the moment. They're going to a yoga class online together. So, and people can join from everywhere. So I never thought that would happen. But it does. So
you told me, which I thought was really lovely, that you've got a mother and a daughter who do your classes together, but they're in different parts of the country. So it's
that's right.
Together and shared experiences.
And they haven't seen each other since February. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, they're there. And I think it's great. It's really, really encouraging. And there's two sisters as well. One was stuck in Australia for a while, and the other in Manchester. So even though it was kind of wake up to yoga, then we had Jane in Australia, like just about to go to bed, but doing wake up with her sister. So yeah.
And you're so how did you get into yoga? I mean, you got into it a long time ago, didn't you? When you were, was it 18 or 19? And then
Well, I started to go to yoga. I used to work at the ministry in Long Benton when I first went to school, and me and my friend Melanie that I worked with there, we went to a yoga class in Heaton on the way home. And to be quite honest, we thought it was a hoot, and the teacher was great. I mean, anybody that's watching this would know Lena. She was quite a notorious yoga teacher because she was probably in her 60s then, and and kept teaching, and she was really encouraging, and she was really happy, and I suppose that's where I got into yoga, in Lena's classes. And I've gone to yoga classes all through my life, actually, starts and stops, during my pregnancies and stuff like that. And it's always really been beneficial for me, in quite a practical way. Helps with a bit of exercise. It helps calm your mind. And it's good for your soul as well. So yeah, I've kind of dipped in and out of yoga, but it's been a kind of a constant thing. And I think, ever since going to her classes, I used to think, gosh, when I grow up, I wouldn't mind doing that. Wouldn't mind being a yoga teacher. There's always been a little bit of a kind of a bubble coming out of my head here going, oh, I'd really like to be a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
But actually, my body probably doesn't look like the kind of billboard advertising that we see that's associated with yoga. Not always, but it can be associated with that. So I've always kind of had this thing, my background's in the corporate world, working in the airline and tourism industry. And I used to kind of think, right, what do I want to do? And I had a fairly senior operations job, and I probably could have done stuff with that, but and I just used to be in management development courses, and you had to write down what you wanted to be, and I used to think, I don't think I can tell anybody, but I'd like to be a yoga teacher. So it's funny, isn't it? You get something, and I realized, I think when I was just starting to be in my 50s, that really it might be a good time to train if I'm going to do that. So 4 years training. Did the British Wheel of Yoga training. So it was always going to just be a sideline, but now I'm doing a lot more of it.
You're taking it seriously and trying to grow it and get more people taking part. But it is amazing how something from all those years ago stayed with you throughout, and it's always been there in the back of your mind that you were so inspired and by that one person, Lena. And you thought, I would like to be like her because she looked so happy, and she was giving off her energy back to you and the other people in the classes, and that's a powerful thing. So if you can,
you don't realize at the time, you never realize these things, I don't think, at the time. And then there is a time when you just think, well, that kind of grows a bit taller in your mind.
Yeah, because you have had a very successful career, international career as a coach as well. So I was going to say, like, to some people it might seem very different, that and what you do now, but actually it's very complementary. Like, all that experience that you've had as a coach feeds into what you're doing now with your online yoga and the retreats that you're doing and your physical yoga classes when you're doing them. So how do you think that's helped? Do you think it's given you, I don't know, do you think it's given you confidence when you're speaking to people when you're doing the yoga, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about helping people to be the best they can be. That's I look at it if I'm, answering that kind of question. So yeah, and I think the coaching can help in my classes as well. I think especially at the moment, people might be a little bit more up against it.
Yeah.
Then I suppose using tools from coaching with the yoga. So and also in the retreats, I think people are drawn to the retreats for the yoga. But remember, these retreats are possibly more for people who might be trying yoga for the first time, or might be fairly new to it, or prefer a gentler practice. But also for the coaching as well. They might have something that they'd like to work on whilst they're on the retreat. So yeah.
Okay.
Goes hand
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the retreat? Because you have been doing physical retreats, but now you're doing an online one next month. So
in my business plan, which was fairly new actually, was to do yoga retreats and yoga holidays, and I started to do that. And so yes, and a couple of people were booked on those retreats and said, well, could you do it online? And I just thought, absolutely not, actually, because I'm not technical, But it's funny when you're faced with something, how you then just find a way, to do it. So yeah, so the retreats are now online, and there's yoga in the morning, so 8 till 9, and then 8 till 9 in the evening. It spans over 5 days, into six days into the morning. So it's over the weekend as well. We have a kind of get together about 10:30 every day, but you don't have to do it all. Some people are working and all of that, so people can dip in and out of it. And there's also a Facebook group. So I've been interviewing people who I thought would bring perhaps what people might be looking for on the retreat as well. So there's some material and useful stuff in the Facebook group. So that's how it works. It includes a one-to-one yoga consultation, and also a one-to-one coaching session. So kind of wrapped up a little bit like that. But I think people sometimes think, oh, I couldn't do that because I'm at work, I can't commit. But you can just dip in and out of it. That's what people have done, and still run their businesses through it. So yeah.
And do you have guest speakers taking part as well?
They have guest speakers, and you can pick up that content just when you want. But so the guest speakers, the retreats are more about women's health actually as well. And I think if we think who it's for, I would say people perhaps approaching midlife, or even beyond that. I think they're more the target group, and these retreats are the content's a lot about women's health. But there's a bit of fun in there as well, but yeah, so yeah, that's how it's set up, and I've got one coming up in February.
Yes. Can you remember the dates? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
I'm not looking at anything that's written down. Is it the 4th?
I think it's the 4th, isn't it? That's well, we're going to share a link to it anyway. But so people book it through Eventbrite, and then can they book it onto the retreat through your website as well, or is it
through the website? Yes, onto Eventbrite. I'm going to be putting those links onto my Facebook page as well, so people can book there. And I think, I always say to people, if you want to have a chat about what brings you to yoga, then then do that. Get in touch with me, and because I think often people are wondering what on earth it's going to be about. So there's plenty on the website you can have a look at. But yeah, just get it.
Okay, well, I am going to share some links. So the website's yogafbyi.com.
That's right. A little bit of a Geordie thing there, isn't it? Really, as well. FBYI.
FBYI. Yeah, didn't realize that. Yeah. So
the
yeah.
body win. Yeah, fbyi.com.
That's right. So yogafbyi.com. And then if you want to follow on Instagram, it's yoga for the body you're in, all one word.
It's all one word, yeah.
Facebook as well is yoga for the body you're in. So it's consistent across everything, which is really good. So yeah, I would encourage anyone who's interested to follow you on Instagram and like your Facebook page so they can get to know a bit more about what you're doing and see some of the photos, some of the images. And I think you're going to be start sharing a few more videos in the
I'm just kind of getting into all of this now, so yeah, I'm going to start to share a bit more on those platforms.
Awesome. Well, the thing about moving things, you said before about moving things, you thought you couldn't do the retreat online, but then you are doing it. It was the same with me doing the startup week event. It was meant to be a physical event in May, and I obviously couldn't do it, and I did it online through a Facebook group.
Yeah.
And actually, it worked better than I thought it would. And in terms of engagement, I was really impressed with how engaged people were. And what was nice was a lot of people were busy during the day. They were juggling lots of things going on, and they weren't necessarily watching things live as they were going out. They were watching things on replay later that night or the next day when it was convenient for them. And so in some ways, actually made it more accessible.
For people. Yeah, they could just dip in and out. Yeah.
And then for a lot of last year, what I realized is I kind of knew this anyway, but like all the events I've been doing, they're not just business events. Like people are looking for a feeling of belonging, like a sense of belonging, or that community feel of being amongst like-minded people that they can bounce off and vibe off. And I think that's always been important, especially if you're just starting something for the first time, but even more so now during the lockdown when people are feeling isolated. Some people literally are on their own, and others, even if they've got people around them, everybody's going through it in their own way, and having a space where you can just talk openly with other like-minded people who share similar interests or passions as you in a way that you maybe couldn't with your friends or family, I think is so important. So I think what you're doing is fantastic. I love what you're doing. So keep it up, Gillian.
And I think getting people to connect, as you say, in that way, it's really important, and to get over some of the technology stuff, because once you do, then that makes it a whole lot easier.
It's funny, like if you think like a year ago, this time last year, if you were talking about running online yoga classes or using Zoom, like everyone would be like, what are you talking about? I don't understand.
Yeah. No, and I think the startup week that I came to, one of the guys there, I stood in the queue to talk to him. I can't remember his name now. I think he was one of the headliners.
On the first day, was it Stephen Bartlett?
That was it, Stephen Bartlett. And I waited in the queue forever to speak to him. And I told him about my yoga, and I said, I should do about social media. It was so nice, actually. It was great. And he said, have a Facebook group and take stuff online. And I just walked away thinking I'll never be able to do that. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So I know, like, because it is funny. I mean, he was amazing. Like, he was outstanding speaker.
He was great. A nice chap as well. We're talking about his mum. Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah. But I remember because like I knew I've been obviously booked him, and I knew he'd be a great speaker because I've seen him speak and I've listened to his podcasts and everything. But you're never quite sure what they're going to be like when they turn up, because I thought he might turn up, be a bit of a diva, like not one, but he like the fact he couldn't have been nicer when he turned up. He was so good backstage in the green room. He had loads of time with everyone, and then on stage he was fantastic. He clearly loved what he was doing. It was like a rock star. I've never seen a speaker actually with everybody just like gathering around and wanting to speak to him afterwards. And then I thought he would just want to head back home straight after, but he stayed for
he was
an hour of like
good.
he spoke to every single person, and then he stayed beyond that as well. And yeah, that and yeah, he was talking back then about the importance of Facebook groups.
He was, that's right. And I think I'd just started to develop my business plan, and I didn't know who he was. Actually, I didn't. But yeah, I thought he was great. You know, well done. He was a huge hit. Can't wait for times to come back again, Paul.
Oh, I know. It's. I mean, I do obviously. This is great. Like speaking online, speaking to you is fantastic, and like I do love. I've been doing a lot of interviews and doing the online events and stuff, but nothing compares to the real life events, like the energy that you get from other people.
Yeah.
And being in a room, like I say, of like-minded people who are all kind of in the same mindset is powerful.
I think the way that you've gone on, you know, inspiring people, and you know, and us to just keep going, especially when the first lockdown hit. You know, you're right. It's kind of keeping that community going. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for being part of it. Thank you for coming to the events, and thank you for wanting to continue to be part of it. Yeah, I mean, you know, it inspires me as well. You know, whenever I do the events and when I speak to people like yourself and others in the online community we've got now, I get something back off that as well. You know, it G's me up and keeps me motivated and inspired. So yeah, I think it's important that we keep doing that. So yeah.
Good.
Hopefully my events and our conversations inspire you, but you inspire me as well. So yeah.
Thank you.
So I've just got so we've already talked about like your yoga classes. What would you say, like, what do you think are the biggest barriers to people getting involved? Do you think it is the images, or, you know, people think, oh, well, they look really fit and they look like, you know, like there is like a stereotypical image of a yoga, yogi, is that what you call it? Like,
I think, you know, sometimes people think that you need to be flexible and more like, you know, use that phrase, gym buddy, don't they, to go to yoga. And you know, now most classes aren't like like that. But I think when I chat to people and I say I'm a yoga teacher, and people will go, "Oh, yoga, I couldn't do that. I'm not flexible. I couldn't do that." You know, and I think that's a big barrier. People think, well, I'm not flexible. Where would I start? And you know, my yoga always starts with a yoga consultation to find out, you know, how people are, what's their starting point. You can do yoga on a chair, sitting on a chair.
Okay.
And actually, you know, I had some stops and starts in my training because I had a couple of operations and stuff. And at one stage I couldn't get off the floor. I couldn't. And my yoga teacher said, oh, just do yoga in your imagination, and, you know, you'll start to connect and realize. And I thought that was bonkers, actually. But I did that. And I used to teach sitting on a chair and have one of my students in the class, you know, demonstrate to others while I kind of started to, you know, get moving again. So start where you are. That's what I would say. And yeah. It's a myth, this whole thing of, you know, you have to be flexible and walk straight into yoga and, you know, start to be able to stand on your head, you know. I
love that phrase, start where you are. But also you have told me some of the people who've been coming to your classes that maybe started off not very flexible, but now they are, or it's given them kind of a renewed lease of life, or a bit more energy.
I've had, you know, somebody pop a letter in my door saying that, you know, much more flexible and their arthritis is a lot better than it has been, you know, and things like that. So yeah, it's like most things, isn't it? If you keep doing it. And I think, you know, people come Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and perhaps an evening class, and you know, that's gonna keep people flexible. Yeah, it's like most things, Paul, just doing it, isn't it?
Yeah. And what do you think about because I mean, I've never done yoga. Like,
Oh, whether you
I
had a go. Yeah.
So yeah, I should give it. I'm gonna give it a go. I am gonna give it a go. Right for you, I'm gonna give it a go. Right.
Yes,
But
and after that, of course, you realise that I will hold it.
you made me doing it. But do you think kind of the whole lifestyle around it as well is maybe off-putting for some people? Because
Yeah.
I think you said as well, like sometimes the kind of the mysticalism, is that what you call it, or the
Yeah, I think
that goes with it is yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, I'll meet people at an event and they'll say, "What do you do?" And I just say, "Oh, I'm a yoga teacher." And sometimes people, I can tell that look now, which says, "Oh, you might be a little bit out there and a bit purple," you know. And I'm very practical. My yoga is very practical. Um, the spiritual stuff, some of it speaks to me, it does, but not all of it. And so yeah, I think that can put people off. And the fact that that it might take them right out of their comfort zone. Yeah. But even in my training I thought that. And I think but there's a lot that can really help people from yoga at the minute. The breathing is such a big part of it. And yeah, I think the fear that people have around COVID and stuff at the minute, yoga helps you to relax and calm the mind. And also a bit of a bit of movement to help with your flexibility. But we have a little bit of fun as well. It's I think some people think that it's got to be really serious, and it's a practice. But I think there's parts of my yoga class that'll speak to people, and some people will kind of pull back at those parts. But yeah, I mean, people have been coming to my classes since the day I started to run them. So that encourages me. It really does. It really does, because I think, like you, we've had this conversation before. It's about helping people.
Yeah, and I know that's a big motivation for you to help others, and you get a lot of inspiration from that. So.
I do.
So yeah, I love what you say. So it's yoga for the body you're in. So all shapes and sizes, all abilities, and it's start where you are. I love that as well. That
Yeah,
whether
I
it be in
mean,
the time, you can literally do it anyway.
you have to check with your GP first and all of that, of course. But yeah, start where you are, and yeah, check out the information. And yeah, it's always good to hear from people about yoga. So
Okay, cool. So if people want to take part, what's the best way to do it? Is it to go through your website, or is it to message you directly?
Yeah, message me directly. The website will take you to ways to do that. I know you'll get some links there for people to do that. Yeah, so send me a message, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
Okay, and there's not really a limit to how many people can do it, is there? Or is there? Are you trying to restrict it?
Yeah, I think there's something about my intention here, and also with the British Wheel of Yoga, that when people sign up for the yoga, it includes a short one-to-one consultation. Right. Yeah. So it is different in that way. So it's not kind of like a free for all for everyone just to click on, and that's good, really, because it helps inform my teaching for the person as well. So yeah.
And are you doing yoga tomorrow morning? Is that your next class?
Yes, next class tomorrow morning, Friday.
9 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah. So 9 o'clock tomorrow, 9 till 9:45. Yeah.
And then are you doing Sunday as well?
Yes, so Sunday nights and Tuesday evenings. I do 2 classes actually, 6:30 till 7:30, and then 8 till 9. People call the 8 till 9 slot and sort of bed yoga. So, really good wind down, let go of the day and all the effort that people are putting into their days at the moment, and do a bit of yoga before you go to bed. Yeah.
Amazing. So yeah, so if anyone's watching this and they fancy doing some yoga, get in touch with Gillian. So go to yogafbyi.com, or they can probably just message you directly through Instagram as well if they wanted to send you a message through there. But all your contact details are on the website. So if anyone watching it wants to give it a try, get in touch with Gillian. Or if you know anyone, any friends or family that you think would benefit from doing it.
Mums and daughters tend to like this as well.
Yeah, the mums and daughters, I think it's a nice thing to do. And we've talked a bit about groups of friends as well, who maybe, well, they can't socializing, but they could potentially do this.
And time to time we've done kind of groups, group yoga for groups of friends. It's quite nice.
Yeah, cool. All right, okay. So, thank you again for doing this. Always love talking to you, and like I say, I'm really impressed that you're doing this, and I think it's really important as well what you're doing. So I hope lots of people spread the word, share it, tell people about it, and give it a go. I mean, a key phrase that I was using last year and this year is start something new. Just give it a go. Just try it. And you never know, like what, until you try what you love, and you might inspire another bunch of yoga teachers in the future, who think I want to be like Gillian when I'm older. So
who knows, Paul? Who knows? But yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, all right, love it.
Yeah,
have a good day. Thanks,
Bye.
Gillian. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.